When CSI, Crime Scene Investigation debuted in 2000, few could have predicted it would become one of the most defining procedural dramas of all time. The crime-solving series revolutionized television storytelling with its forensic focus, gritty realism, and dynamic team of investigators led by Gribbs. But for those who watched the very first episodes, there's one haunting storyline that stands out: the shocking fate of rookie investigator Holly Gribbs, played by Canadian actress Chandra. Holly's sudden death after just 2 episodes wasn't just tragic within the story, it sparked decades of speculation about what really went on behind the scenes. Why introduce a promising new character, only to kill her off almost immediately? The truth behind Holly's departure is as fascinating as it is controversial. The short-lived CSI rookie. Chandra West's Holly Gribbs appeared in the CSI pilot as a nervous, inexperienced trainee just joining the Las Vegas crime lab. In the series' very first case, she shadowed veteran CSIs like Gribbs and Warwick Brown. Her character was designed to be the audience's entry point, the fresh recruit discovering the strange, meticulous world of crime scene investigation for the first time. Holly was intelligent and ambitious but overwhelmed by the grim realities of the job. She gagged at her first autopsy, fumbled with evidence, and often looked terrified by the crimes she witnessed. In many ways, she represented what any normal person would feel stepping into such a dark profession. But that wide-eyed vulnerability didn't last long. At the end of the pilot, Holly was sent to process a crime scene, alone. Warwick, tasked with supervising her, left to run a personal errand, leaving the rookie unprotected. Moments later, Holly was shot by the suspect, who used her own gun against her. The next episode, Cool Change, opens with the devastating news: Holly Gribbs has died. She never even got the chance to become a full-fledged CSI. For fans watching at the time, it was a gut punch. How could a brand new show kill off one of its main characters after just 2 episodes? Behind-the-scenes trouble. The truth is that Holly's death wasn't originally part of CSI's grand storytelling plan, it was the result of backstage politics, network pressure, and the cold realities of early television testing. According to creator Anthony E. Zuiker, the decision to kill Holly came from higher up the food chain. After filming the pilot, CBS executives reportedly felt uneasy about Chandra West's casting. Their complaint: she was too attractive to be believable as a crime scene investigator. It sounds absurd, and it is, but that was the actual reasoning. Executives worried that viewers wouldn't buy someone as glamorous as West spending long nights at grisly murder scenes or digging through evidence under harsh fluorescent lights. In other words, they didn't think audiences would believe someone that beautiful could be a scientist. Zuiker, who fought to keep his cast intact, tried to appease the network by changing Holly's look. Makeup artists were told to dirty her up, less lipstick, more realism, darker lighting, to make her fit the gritty tone of the show. But the efforts didn't change the minds of CBS decision makers. To them, the rookie CSI still looked too polished for the part. At the same time, early test audiences didn't respond well to the character either. Some found Holly too nervous, too weak, or not particularly engaging compared to the rest of the team. The feedback gave the network an excuse to make changes before the show officially launched. By the time production rolled into its 2nd episode, the verdict was in: Chandra West would be written out of CSI entirely. A death with purpose. Once the decision was made to remove Holly, the writers had to figure out how. Rather than quietly reassigning her or having her resign from the lab, they decided to make her death a turning point, a shocking moment that would set the tone for the entire series. Killing Holly wasn't just about removing a character, it was about making a statement. CSI wanted to show that this wasn't a sanitized network procedural where everything tied up neatly by the end. Real-life crime scene work is dangerous, unpredictable, and unforgiving, even for the professionals. Holly's death drove home that point in a single stroke. It was brutal, emotional, and instantly raised the stakes for every other character. Warwick Brown's guilt over leaving her became a defining part of his storyline, and the rest of the team was forced to confront the very real dangers of their jobs. In narrative terms, it worked. In human terms, it was devastating. Enter Sarah Seidel. Holly's departure opened the door for one of CSI's most enduring characters, Sarah Seidel, played by Georgia Fox. Sarah joined the lab in episode 2, brought in by Gribbs to replace Holly after her death. Sarah's arrival marked a tonal shift. Unlike Holly, Sarah was not a wide-eyed rookie but a confident, experienced investigator. She had grit, independence, and emotional complexity, all qualities that would make her one of the series' most beloved figures for years to come. In many ways, Sarah was everything the network had wanted Holly to be: believable, intelligent, and immediately at home in the world of forensic science. Fans connected with her quickly, and she became a fixture of CSI for over a decade. But for some fans, Holly's ghost lingered, a reminder of what could have been if Chandra West had been given the chance to grow into the role. A controversial decision. The reasoning behind Holly's death remains controversial even decades later. The idea that an actress was let go because she was too pretty says more about Hollywood's double standards than it does about audience believability. It also exposed a contradiction in television casting. Networks constantly seek attractive, telegenic actors, yet in some cases punish them for being too glamorous when realism is at stake. For Chandra West, the experience was a frustrating lesson in the industry's fickle logic. She later went on to enjoy a solid career in film and television, appearing in White Noise, Burn Notice, and NYPD Blue, but her short stint on CSI remains one of her most memorable roles precisely because it was so brief. The decision also highlighted how much power test audiences held in early 2000s television. Before streaming and fan-driven engagement, networks relied heavily on focus groups to gauge what worked. If a character didn't score well in testing, their fate could be sealed before the public even saw them. Holly Gribbs became an early casualty of that process. Legacy and impact. In hindsight, Holly's death helped establish CSI's identity. It told viewers that this was a show where consequences mattered, where even the most innocent mistakes could cost lives. It wasn't afraid to be dark, unsettling, or tragic. For the writers, it also provided a cautionary tale within the story: the importance of following protocol, of never leaving a scene unsecured, of respecting the danger that lurks in the shadows. Holly's death became part of CSI's mythology, referenced years later as one of the show's most defining early moments. From a creative standpoint, it may have been the right call for the tone of the series. From a human standpoint, it was undeniably harsh: an actor fired after just 2 episodes because she didn't fit an executive's idea of what a real investigator should look like. Still, that one brief role achieved something remarkable. In just 2 episodes, Chandra West's Holly Gribbs managed to shape the emotional DNA of CSI. Her death propelled Warwick's arc, motivated Grissom's leadership decisions, and symbolized the risks that every crime scene investigator faces. 2 episodes that changed everything. More than 2 decades later, CSI's pilot remains one of the most striking openings in modern television. Holly's fate set the tone for everything that followed, a combination of realism, tragedy, and moral consequence. It's ironic that a character removed for not fitting in became one of the show's most memorable symbols. Her death was not just an early shock twist, it was the heartbeat of CSI's identity. Behind the cameras, it was the result of corporate insecurity and superficial bias. On screen, it became a powerful narrative choice, turning what could have been a quiet dismissal into a haunting story that viewers never forgot. In the end, Holly Gribbs may have only appeared in 2 episodes, but she left a mark far deeper than many characters who lasted seasons. Chandra West's brief time on CSI remains a bittersweet reminder of how television magic and missteps can intertwine, shaping pop culture history in ways no one could have predicted.